Pakinggan po natin tong mga koda ni Malcolm Conlan patungkol sa issue involving Quiboloy. Marami po siyang kinuda dito, pakinggan natin at bigyan natin ng reaksyon. Kung maaalala nyo, si Malcolm Conlan, siya yung AFAM, no, na maraming koda about Philippine politics and issues sa Pilipinas, especially nung time ni Duterte. At kung maalala nyo, ang dami niyang koda about Atty. Lenny. Yung mga ginagawa ni Atty. Lenny, mga pinupuntahan ni Atty. Lenny, mga sinasabi ni Atty. Lenny, lagi yung may negative comment, lagi yung may negative reaction, no? So, para sa akin, nagmukha siya talagang propagandista. In my opinion, nagmukha siyang propagandista, no? Para magpinta ng negatibong imahe ni Atty. Lenny, especially during the last administration. Pakinggan natin yung mga koda niya dito, no, patungkol kay Quiboloy at bigyan natin ng reaksyon. And eto na.
Hi everybody, I've just been listening to the somewhat shocking video by Pastor Quiboloy on the events of the moment and how he feels that he's been worried, if you like, how he feels that he's been victimized and of course forced to hide as a result of what's going on in the Philippines. I'm just a little bit dismayed because on the one hand, the Philippines administration, government would obviously say that the ICC, for example, has no right over Philippine sovereignty, i.e. the Philippines is an independent nation, it has its own judiciary, etc. So I would also hope that this would extend to the situation regarding Pastor Quiboloy and the apparent moves to actually extradite him to the United States. You know, the Philippines is a sovereign country, and on that note, I am very sure that President BBM would not allow for any action to be taken against Pastor Quiboloy unless it was through the appropriate channels, i.e. courts in the Philippines. Of course, there is actually a process, a judicial process, in that if the United States were going to apply for any kind of arrest warrants or anything like that, it would have to go through the official channels, i.e. the Philippine courts. What might be helpful, maybe a statement. It's not for me to say because I'm not Filipino myself, but what might be helpful is a post or a statement from President Bongbong Marcos, at least reassuring Pastor Quiboloy that no such action will take place and that Pastor Quiboloy is indeed safe. You know, by the sound of it, he says that he's received some information about some kind of plot or about somebody trying to gain entry to his home or even a death threat. And I'm disappointed to hear that. You know, you have to appreciate that there are millions of followers at the church of Pastor Quiboloy. And of course, all those followers, Philippine citizens, many of them are also due that assurance. You know, to them, Pastor Quiboloy, the appointed son of God, you know, this is a religious movement. And Pastor Quiboloy is the pastor or the head of that religious movement, that religious organization. And like any religious organization, I believe this demands respect. I believe this demands the protection of the Philippine government. You know, the fact is that anyone is allowed to have protection against to protect their views, their religious views, etc. Of course, there is an argument to say that there is a case to be heard in the United States, but from what I understand from Pastor Quiboloy, this particular case has been dragged on for such a long time now, you know, I believe as a Christian as well that anyone is innocent until proven guilty. Of course, there are accusations against Pastor Quiboloy. And of course, I'm not privy to any of these. I don't understand the full situation. But what I understand is this. When somebody has been successful, when somebody's preaching the word of God, there's always going to be people who are going to be putting them down. There's always going to be people who are going to be going against that person. You know, there's going to be jealousy out there as well. There's going to be people who are jealous of Pastor Quiboloy. And of course, his undoubted success as a result of his belief. You know, I'm not a member of the church. I've been to one of their services, which I was invited to. So it's not for me to really say that I fully understand the ethics or I fully understand the situation, but all I know is there are some believers of that particular church who've reached out to me, and they feel there's been some kind of injustice. They feel that Pastor QUIBOLOY has not been given a fair hearing and that there's two sides to every story. It's not for me to say or to get involved because I haven't read all of the documents. I don't know all of the history. Yes, I've read some things listened to some things on YouTube. And from what I can see, there's a number of allegations against Pastor QUIBOLOY. You know, the fact is, again, that the Philippines is a democratic country. The Philippines has its own court system. And of course, if the United States of America wanted to try and execute any warrants, they would have to go through that court process. But for Pastor QUIBOLOY to be shacked up in whatever house he's shacked up in, really worried about people might be trying to kill him, he's got information that people are trying to harm him, I don't think that's right. He's a pastor of a church, and a pastor of a church needs to be out there amongst his people. So I think it needs reassurance. I think it needs the government to issue a statement. And it's not for me to say, but I do believe the government should issue a statement to say that the Pastor QUIBOLOY has the same protection as any other Philippine citizen, in that nobody's going to try and kill him, nobody's going to try and assassinate him. And these are all just vicious rumors that were brought about maybe by somebody who's jealous or somebody who's trying to scare Pastor QUIBOLOY. I'm not sure where those rumors have come from. But as far as I understand, and I know, there is a process. And even Pastor QUIBOLOY said that he has a team of lawyers in the United States who are waiting to fight these claims. And as long as things are being done properly and diplomatically, I have no doubt that Pastor QUIBOLOY will go ahead and will engage with the relevant authorities at the time that it's necessary. I'm sure Pastor QUIBOLOY will pray about the situation as well. And of course, he will have the support of his followers. So for me, the way that I would like to see this resolved, or the way that I hope this can be resolved, is a clear message from the government to say that Pastor QUIBOLOY has nothing to fear and that there is a judicial process that I'm sure will be followed. I hope nobody minds me making these comments, but I just feel that it's my responsibility to do so as somebody who supports the Philippines very much, loves the Philippines very much. Thank you, guys.
Ayun, ang daming sinabi, no? Ang dami niyang sinasabi about dun sa issue ni QUIBOLOY. Pero kung napansin niyo, from time to time, sinasabi din naman niya, meron siyang disclaimer na, I'm not a Filipino, I don't fully understand the situation, blah, 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 blah. Pero he kept on talking about the issue. If you don't fully understand the situation, then stop. No, don't give your opinion. He's so opinionated about Philippine politics and issues, no. If I remember it correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not mistaken, he's the one who started that satirical phrase na sinabi daw ni Atty. Lenny na 3 daughters, they are all girls. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, siya yung may sabi noon, no? Pero kung mali ako, edi mali ako. Pero yun po yung pagkakaalam ko, no? I may be wrong, pero yun po talaga yung pagkakaalam ko. Ngayon, kung babalikan nyo talaga yung mga videos niya, hanggang ngayon, andyan pa rin sa social media, ang dami niyang kuda about Atty. Lenny. Tapos ngayon, nakikisali about sa issue ni QUIBOLOY, no? Ang dami niyang kinuda, pero from time to time, parang sinasabi niya na he's not in the position to talk about things, no? Na parang he doesn't fully understand nga. Pero, kuda naman ng kuda. Nagdidemand pa siya sa Philippine government na mag-issue ng statement para i-assure si QUIBOLOY, no? Ang daming opinion. Aminado naman pala siyang hindi Pinoy. Alam mo, first time ko talagang nakakita ng AFAM na ang daming kuda about Philippines, no? May mga kaibigan ako na may mga asawang AFAM, pero hindi naman sila nakikisawsaw sa mga issues about Philippines, especially politics. Pero ito, ang daming kuda. Kaya nga, for me, nagmukha na siyang propagandista, no? So, ayun na yung tingin ko sa kanya ngayon, no? And masisisi niya ba ako? Siya lang naman talaga yung AFAM na nakita ko na ang daming kinukuda, no? Kung narinig niyo yung sinabi niya na parang he felt like responsibility daw niya to parang to talk, no? Because he loves the Philippines so much. Sinasabi niya na he cares for the Philippines. Yun naman pala bakit mo sasabihin na you're not in position, you don't fully understand, and then later on, sasabihin mo, felt like you have the responsibility, no, to talk about that issue. Parang, ang gulo, no? Tapos, kung tama po yung pagkakaintindi ko dun sa sinabi niya, ang naiintindihan daw po niya, yung mga preacher, mga successful preacher at napipreach ng Word of God, kinaiingitan daw po, no? Ang term na ginamit niya sa pagkakatanda ko ay jealous, no? Yung po yung naalala ko. So, yung pagkakaintindi ko, parang pinapalabas nito na kinaiinggitan si QUIBOLOY, kaya may mga ganong reklamo, no? Ganyan po kababaw yan, no? Kung ifa-follow po natin yung logic niya, edi marami na sanang successful preacher ngayon ang kinasuhan. Pero meron kasing pinaguhugutan talaga na mabigat yung mga nagreklamo kay QUIBOLOY. At sa dinami-dami ng complaint at complainants, no? Mahirap tanggapin yung sinasabi nito na jealous or inggit, no? Kasi yun po yung pagkakaintindi ko, parang pinapalabas nito na parang inggit lang kay QUIBOLOY, no? Kaya may mga ganong accusation. Correct me if I'm wrong na lang, no? Yun po yung understanding ko. Pwede nyo ulitin yung video niya. Maling sabihin na pag ang preacher ay successful, yumaman, at nagpipreach ng Word of God, maraming naiinggit. Maaring totoo, pero irrelevant po ito, itong sinasabi niya na inggit doon sa mga kasong final kay QUIBOLOY. I'm confident, hindi po dahil sa inggit, kaya nag-file ng kaso ang mga taong iyon against QUIBOLOY. No? So, at the end of the day, malalaman naman natin ang totoo diba? Nagtataka lang talaga ako sa mga Pinoy na kababayan natin, na kapag foreigner na ang nagsabi ng magagandang bagay about Pilipino, proud na proud, no? Ang taas ng pride. Akala mo naman ay tayo na yung the best sa buong mundo, no? Sa totoo lang, I think ginagawa lang yan ng mga foreigner na yan para sa clout, no? That's my opinion. And ito nga, ang daming kuda about Philippines, no? As if naman na lahat ng Pilipino ay natutuwa sa mga sinasabi niya at na-appreciate yung mga kinukuda niya sa social media. Sa'yo, Malcolm Conlan, no? Huwag mong isipin na responsibilidad mo na kumuda about Philippines, no? And real talk lang, no? Huwag kayong masyadong feeling significant, no? And relevant sa Pilipinas, no? Especially if it is domestic issues, no? Ang dami niyong kuda So, yun lang mga kababayan. Yun lang po yung gusto kong i-share sa inyo sa video na ito. Ano pong masasabi niya sa mga kinuda niya? Comment down below. And don't forget to like our video. Magkita-kita tayo sa susunod kong video. Salamat po.